car. I've owned this Mark 1 MX5 for 5 years, bought completely standard with the intention of turning it into a road legal track car. This car has taught me a lot. I bought it with the intention of learning a lot of things, and we really pushed the boundaries on this one of my knowledge. But unfortunately today really is the last drive.
Okay, so it's safe to say we all have dream cars and not everybody understands. For me, it's always been the Mark 1 MX5. At the time, having very little money, I was very lucky to bag this absolute poverty spec UK spec Mark 1 Mazda MX5 for £500. I got stuck right into fixing a few of the issues it had, including seized calipers and a blown exhaust. And of course the obligatory no exhaust startup. I ignored the leaking boot seal for a while. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Then the radiator blew up, leaving me stranded. I then spent the next few months slowly modifying the car on a strict budget with some cheap wheels and cheap coilovers. Yeah, it still wasn't fast. Budget was the theme, until I had the bright idea to buy a cheap supercharger kit. My good friend Mark, a classic tune, basically replaced everything in the kit, and he ended up fabricating everything I needed for the setup. I was very impressed with his fab skills. He even custom painted the rocker cover and generally tidied up the engine bay without me even knowing, including this custom panel he made just for this car. Mark was learning to map at the time, so we hit the road and did some road tuning. Then of course we started messing with the launch control. It sounded nuts. There were a few bits on the map to iron out, so I took it to TTC in Swansea so Ped could work his magic. I ran it like this for a while, then eventually put it back to naturally aspirated. Whilst it was being supercharged, Mark also polybushed the entire car for me, as I knew I would be taking it on track eventually. I took it on track a few times in both NA and supercharged form, and the handling always blew me away. Kenny and I have filmed a few videos with the MX5 documenting some of the mods, etc. I bought some new wheels and tyres to smarten up the car, and of course get some better grip. To accommodate the new wheels, Kenny and I fitted a full wide arch kit.
Whoa! An MX5 with a bit of rust. And I've never seen Kenny so happy.
Just give me a sledgehammer and I'm away.
But the major issue was the paint. I have no idea what happened to the paintwork on the MX5, but it wasn't good. Being the cheapskate I am, my plan was to plasti dip the car to make it a bit more presentable. Thankfully, Jay, the absolute legend, phoned me and told me I was not plasti dipping it and that he would rather paint it himself than see it plasti dipped. So, he did. Not only did he offer to paint the car, he let me get involved in the prep and the paint. But not too much, of course. We needed the car to stand out, so I chose Giallo Modena, which is a Ferrari yellow colour, and I think you'll agree it stands out whether you like it or not. As if that wasn't enough, Jono from Design Studios came down to Jay's house where the car was painted and wrapped the car in the classic Accelerate livery. Massive thanks to both as always, I'm so grateful for this. I thoroughly enjoyed this car for a while, then I purchased another car and I kinda neglected this one, hence why there are now door cards and interior trims missing.
I imagine a lot of you are probably thinking, if I've gone through all of this with a car, why is this the last drive? Why am I getting rid of it? Well, the plan was to always go. I always wanted more power. I looked into case swapping, realized it was way out in my budget. So I landed on turboing. I've been down the supercharger route. So I want to turbo this thing. That was always the plan. So upon my research, I came across a turboed UNOS, which is an imported Mark 1 MX5. A VR limited, so a much better spec than this one, with a turbo kit with everything I wanted on there, but it was rotten, and I mean beyond rotten. It's actually rotted further in than we thought. Oh wow. I thought I will buy that car, take all the turbo bits, take all the good bits off and put it on this one. But fortunately, I know some very clever people, some welders, and some very generous people. So they threw the idea to build the rotten turbo UNOS whilst I can still drive this, and then when the time eventually come, get rid of this. And unfortunately, this is that time. I know I've said it before, guys, but the insurance runs out on this tomorrow. It's not going to be coming back. It's going somewhere quite special after this, which I will explain. But this is going to be stripped. I'm going to take all the bits I want to keep off there, because all I want is my Civic as a daily and the turbo UNOS as my fun car. So this, as much as I'd love to keep it, having the room and more importantly having the finances to do it, it's just not going to be possible. So although it's a sad day, we're going to make it a good day, because I thought, what better place to bring it than the roads that we take every feature car on, because this is something I've always wanted to do since owning this. I have never taken this car on the roads that we feature, so it seemed very fitting that on the final drive we're going to hoon this thing on the roads that we hoon every other car. As you can imagine, this thing doesn't do much in a straight line, so we'll make it a bit more entertaining. Still spins up nicely. Oh my god, it actually left 11s! So this thing has got an open diff. But I think we did get a good bit of wheel spin there. So as I said, it doesn't do much in a straight line, but we drive a lot of cars up here, and because of the lack of power steering in this thing, this is one of the most communicative cars steering-wise that I have ever come across, which is one thing I'm worried about, because the UNOS actually has power steering. So is it fast in a straight line? No. But is it fast around corners? Heck yes it is, because I can go flat out, if I can get it, flat out up here, and the response you get from every part of this car, because of the lack of power steering, this is so sharp to respond. Oh my god, this is probably the slowest I've ever been up here, but man, I love this car. I used to have an S2000 and that was not very forgiving. This thing is your best friend. It is there to look out for you. And that is what fun cars are all about. It gives you the confidence to play. And it makes you think, why am I doing this? But it is for good reason. And we're actually going to have more power, way more, about double the power, which I hope doesn't ruin that feel, because it gets your heart pumping, and as cheesy as it sounds, you feel at one with the car. You can be a bit naughty, you can push it, you can make it dance a little. The chassis on these, if you've never driven one, especially a Mark 1, you need to find some good roads with corners. Corners are the main thing on this car. Find some corners and I guarantee you will enjoy it. That was my final drive in my UK spec Mark 1 MX5, and I'm so glad. Although it was raining, I toyed with the idea of doing the final drive somewhere else, but it felt so fitting to do it here where we always film, and obviously we've drawn a crowd as well. So as sad as I am to see this thing go, it'll be here in spirit, because all the good bits on this are going to be going on the turbo one. So we're going to make one super duper Accelerate MX5. I know for all you MX5 fans, you will be relieved, because I have told a lot of people I'm getting rid of it. A lot of people don't realise I've actually got two. So this has been a dream car for me, and thanks to a lot of people, I've got my dream build going on in the background with the turbo one. So yes, it's going to be weird, but I'm actually taking it to my unit.
Georgia and I have gone halves on a unit, so we finally have somewhere we can build our cars. A massive thanks to Scott from Phoenix Detailing for sorting the whole thing out for us. Although there's a lot of work to be done, I mean, it doesn't even have a roller shutter at the moment, but that is being installed next week, and we're knocking all of the walls down for maximum floor space. That's it for the MX5's final drive, and onto the turbo UNOS build. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.